and his regime has a very narrow definition of what it means to be an American.
We have a right for our kids to play on sports teams.
It is my great honor to introduce Rabbi Abby Stein, who is a Congregational Rabbi and a champion for justice.
My religion has taught me that every human being is the divine image. When the people in that White House or the people in the White House try to take away our rights, try to legislate us out of existence, what you are doing, every bill that you try to pass is an affront, not just to humanity, but to divinity, and to any version of spirituality or creation that you want to come up with.
My first memories are not that, oh, I am not a boy, but rather, why does everyone say that I'm a boy? Why does everyone think that I'm a boy? It just never made any sense to me. When I was 4, without getting too graphic, I tried to take matters into my own hand by trying to cut off a body part. Thankfully, it wasn't very successful. But that's when I was 4. I didn't know that trans people actually exist until I got online for the first time, which is when I was 20, in 2012. That's the first time I went on the internet. I wasn't allowed to go on the internet either, growing up. The Hasidic community today, at least, they have this overly nostalgic version of 18th century Eastern Europe, Pale of Settlement. And the ultimate goal is to recreate this wherever they live. It's how you end up with people who live in 21st century New York City, but speak only Yiddish, dress in literally 18th century Eastern European clothes, eat 18th century Eastern European food, and have an entire society based around trying to preserve that. I was engaged at 17, that's the case for everyone. All of my siblings were teen parents. So I'm Jewish, I'm a boy. The boy part I never bought into because it never made any sense to me, so why would I trust anything else? I had a coming out conversation with my dad. He didn't know trans people existed until I came out to him. And when he ultimately got it, he said, I want you to know that that means I will never talk to you again. My mother, I don't know really what my mother thinks or wants because my dad didn't even let me talk to her.
How many years?
10 years, coming up, not 10, almost 10. November is going to be 10 years. Only once I realized that there's no way for me to stay with my son and to stay with my ex, only then I left. I don't talk about my son. My son's life is private. We have a joint custody agreement. Anything else about his life is private. He's 30 now. In 5 years, he's 18. If he wants to talk to you, you can talk to him. I don't like when people call me courageous. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just like, I honestly think that if I was courageous, I would have left my community at 15 and transitioned when I was 16. It felt to me, by the time I did leave, it felt to me that I'm only doing it because I have no other choice. And it really felt like it wasn't the question of stay Hasidic and be miserable. It was stay Hasidic and don't be alive. I know for me, I've been through really hard times. And for me, it always was, to be honest, it always felt like, why? If it's a last choice, it's not gonna run away. And when I think about trans people and suicide, first of all, every study shows that people who are, it goes down a lot after transition, but even after transition, it's still quite high because we still live in a world that isn't meant for trans people. Every day you open up the news and you see another person and another politician and another president and another whatever just trying to legislate you out of existence or trying to make your life harder.
President for the next 8 years. Trump forever.
I think it's not by chance that authoritarian governments, or generally I think governments that are trying to control the populace more, are so homophobic and transphobic, anti-LGBTQ. And that's just not all of it. They also usually tend to be anti-woman. They tend to be anti-reproductive rights, anti-people having any of those rights. on a cultural level, being LGBTQ is that it means being part of generations of people who have looked at the world and said, I don't like what's going on here. You are repressing people. You are telling people what to do. And became the leaders, not just for queer liberation and gender liberation and sexual liberation and trans liberation and so on, but generally fighting for liberation. The ideas that try to keep people under control politically are the same kind of ideas at its root that try to keep people under control when it comes to their religious life, their cultural life, their sexual life, their gender roles, and so on. And authoritarians are afraid because LGBTQ people don't fall for authoritarianism as easy as a lot of other people, because we constantly have to fight